we're into the last minutes. Wrexham desperate for that equaliser. It's thrown back into the Wrexham half, and O'Connell will use Okonkwo. Stevenage screaming for the final whistle. Okonkwo, one last chance for Wrexham, knocks it long. Palmer helps it on towards the edge of the area. Massed ranks of Stevenage defenders hack it clear, and they found Tyrese Simpson, who's done well since he's come on, holding the ball up, running at defenders. He's holding it up really well now. Turns away from Lee, palms it on and gets a return pass down the right. He's offside, but he's wasted a chunk of time again doing that.
That's right. Really good hold-up play, wasn't it, by Simpson. Took it in.
So, free kick. Wrexham feed it down the line. Mendy on the chase, and there is the final whistle. And when you look at the frenzied celebrations of the Stevenage crowd and in the press box, you know that they realise that they've weathered the storm here in the second half and come out with a point they'll be very, very pleased with.
Yeah, absolutely. First half they were very, very good for their lead at half time, but second half Wrexham have pretty much chucked the kitchen sink at them, really without creating any real clear chances, but so much dominating the ball in the second half, but unable to find that gap. You can see why they've only conceded 5 in the league. They defend their box really well. There's very few gaps in between players, and they come away, when you've got in the lead, you come away with a 1-0 win against second place in the league, and Wrexham just not quite. You can't have a half like it, really. You know, that first half has let themselves down. The second half so much better, and you can see with the intensity they have the players to create and cause problems. Just not a good enough first half, really.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and the nature of the goal as well, on the wet surface, just skidding in, and as you said at the time, it seemed to more catch Okonkwo by surprise the way it was so quickly on him. It was right in the corner as well.
Yeah, unless he was not sighted, you had a defender in his way, and when it's hit, it's 10 yards closer when he does see it to then go, but it just seemed like he didn't really sweep catch it, did it? It just went zinging across the surface and right in that bottom corner, and Okonkwo couldn't get across.
And then we were playing catch-up. It was quite a bright start, but then after that, like I said, the half, we were on the back foot, struggling to really move the ball around much. The second half, an immense difference. But having said that, I mean, the only chances I've noted down was McLean's volley from the edge of the D on his weaker foot, which went well over and wasn't a big chance, really.
No.
And then Barnett's cross and Lee meeting it with a header from about 8-9 yards out. But again, not one where you'd point at Lee and say you should do better. It was decent save by the keeper, but we've not created enough when we're on top.
No, and the keeper's not been really tested. He's not had 5 or 6 saves to make that you'd go, he's had a blinder to keep it at 0. He's been comfortable enough, purely because of that back 4 of Stevenage were just so good defending that 6-yard box from any crosses from Barnett. I don't think our movement was quite as good as it has been. I'd just love to see somebody get across that near post, one to drag maybe Piergianni, who is in that focal point, who's the one that's cleared most. He's just stood there. He doesn't have to go across him and move, which does put him off. He's just able to then just set himself and head away. I'd just like to see a little bit more movement in there off the back of Barnett, because it's coming in. Yeah,
absolutely, because Barnett in the second half really was ripping in some real quality as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he'd be my man of the match for Wrexham today. I know that he's not created for a goal, but he has put so many crosses in. He's been there and back numerous times, and 1v1. He's been very good defensively and attackingly. And somebody has to go and put their head on top of one of his crosses, because he must be double figures easily in the game. He's put crosses in.
I mean, credit to Stevenage as well. You can see why they've got the best defence in the division. Players like Piergianni in the centre, for both centre backs,
That's
and
right.
then as well,
the 2 in front
Phillips
of them.
and Thompson protecting them. I mean, Phillips was just ludicrous, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was Kante-esque, wasn't he? That type, everywhere, but like any 50-50 he was on top of and wrestling with the ball, and you just never got a moment in there. Even though in the second half Wrexham really did dominate that midfield, they were still just in the right place at the right time when needed to pick up little free kicks, to get the ball going, to clear chances, to clear second balls on the edge of the box. I thought they were very good, and you can see, like you said, they don't concede many. You can see, I thought first half they looked really bright, top end of the pitch, but then when Wrexham did get on top, they're just solid in that low block and defending their box really well.
Wrexham's back three had a lot of work to do in the first half. I thought the 3 centre-backs did a good job of repelling. I mean, Stevenage only scored from a 25-yarder, and apart from a Conquo save at the end of the match when we were leaving the back door
That's
open.
right.
You know, I thought our centre-backs on Scar in his first league start for us. I mean, he showed the attributes Phil Barkston has looked for, because he's a bit like Piagiani in terms of defending the area around him, isn't he?
That's right. Marvin Andrews comes to mind. He heads it further. Kreitz, they head it further than they can kick it normally. Do you know what I mean, these lads? And he looks really strong in there. He looks mobile as well. As normally when you've got that attribute, you're not as mobile, but he looks mobile. He looks like he's a leader. He's willing and talking to the two boys either side of him. I thought he did really well today. Yeah. I think maybe some of his passing he could just play rather than just going long all the time. He could change that up a little bit. But off his first start in the league, I think he's defended really well. He defended the cross that came along and he cleared it really well. He headed everything, didn't he? He's a bit of an animal in the air. So hopefully he can produce what Max was doing in the other end as well from set pieces. We didn't really have many set pieces, did we, today, that we normally look so strong as away from home.
Yeah. Didn't get any on the. I don't think we got any corners on the right for O'Connor to put that patented far top corner ball in. That
no, that's right. Well,
we
tended to use the away swinger because Elliot Lee took one this side, and we used the away swinger both sides, which is a strange one, seeing we've had so much joy with that in swinger above the keeper.
Yeah, Lee O'Connor was off by then, wasn't he? Of course, yeah. So Lee was on, and so he played the away swinger. But yeah, disappointing. I will say one thing though. I reckon Scar can kick it as far as he heads it, because he did make that clearance from the far side of the pitch over a stand.
It's still going up.
It is, yes, absolutely. It might hit Chris Waddle's penalty in space. Who knows? Anyway, frustration for Wrexham. The second half was good, but you can't come to a side that looks as well organised as Stevenage, put in a first half like that, and realistically expect to get anything out of the game. And so ultimately, Wrexham suffer a second defeat of the season. Disappointment for Wrexham, but they'll go at it again, back in the home comforts of the Stoke Kairas, and look to get back to winning ways. With a final score of Stevenage 1, Wrexham 0. We've been Mark Griffiths and Andy Morrell.